Hey guys, what's going on? Today's video is entirely about what it takes to rebuild the American Iron ball joint deletes. Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel. Like we said, today's video is all about the American Iron ball joint deletes. It is not an install video. It is not how to install them. It is not really even talking about what they do or how they do it. If you are at this point by this time on your Jeep, you really should know how to install ball joints anyways. So what we're going to talk about today is what it would take to actually rebuild these. Yes, they are entirely rebuildable 100%. So what that means is no more ugly presses, no more fighting with sleeves and collars and a big C and a bunch of bolts and all that crap like that. You're done with that. You need no more presses ever once you install the ball joint delete system. Makes it kind of nice. I have put 2 sets of ball joints in my JK here. It only has 66,000 miles on it. I have installed the ball joint delete system about 2 years ago, and it is absolutely fantastic, beautiful still. However, I had my Jeep tore way down doing a bunch of maintenance on it. We're changing out some U-joints, and I figured while I'm here, I might as well go ahead and show you what it takes to rebuild these things. I do have some upgrades for them that Josh Dodsworth with American Iron has offered. One of them is a system that goes in the lower one down here to aid with improper installation. Really and truly, it helps with people who like to over torque things and not follow directions. He has also come out with a new upper double-ended bolt. This is a single-ended bolt here. It only has threads on one side. There is a new double-ended upper bolt, which helps also with preload, as you can now adjust the top as well. I have cheated a little bit, to be honest. As you can see, I already have the axle out. Yes, I already have all the steering linkage loose. And truthfully be told, I have already knocked the C down off of the tapered studs. Strictly because it's not a how-to install video for the deletes. I just wanted to get it tore down so we can show you what's in here. I have never removed my bearings. So this is going to be a one and only chance to show you guys just how easy it really is. Also, since I have never had these apart. However, mine feel great still. There is no reason really to tear them apart other than to share that information with you if you ever have to rebuild these. Again, 2 years, 0 issues. The bearings feel great, but we're going to go ahead and push them out of there anyways just to show you what's installed and how it is to rebuild them. I do have the new double-ended stud kit already. This is what it looks like. This will replace the single upper bolt right here. All right. This also allows us to pre-install the stud into the turning knuckle. That makes it a lot easier going back together as you can go ahead and pre-install the upper and the lower studs so that when you do start back together, you literally can just slip them back up in there. All right. So anyway, let me get this off of here right quick and we'll talk some more about it and I'll show you how to get the bearings out. All right, guys, like I say, I have went ahead and cheated a little bit. I have knocked the turning knuckle off of there. It really was nothing to it. Honestly, you're going to start out with it up. I took a hammer, tapped it down. That's it, okay? So we're not that far ahead necessarily. Anyway, we're going to go ahead and take the nuts off of here now. Take the lower nut off. We're just going to drop the C out of there. Now, this is what I was talking about with the new double stud. We will be able to pre-install it just like the lower is. With it being a single-ended stud on the top previous design, you had to go ahead and put the bolt in there and then put the C up to it. Now we will have the capability, though, of, let me grab the new one here right quick. We now have the capabilities of we will be able to pre-install the upper stud as well. So we will end up with that. So when we go back together, we'll simply put it underneath there, boom, back up in there, put the nuts on it, move on about our business. All right, but on to the reason why we're here really. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and get our nut put back on the top here. And that's purely so we don't tear the threads up, although I'm not reusing the bolts anyways. However, if you were rebuilding these and you didn't replace the upper bolt, you would need to save these. So to get the bolt out, we could either, well, I mean, we could try giving a little tap. Just in case it's really hard up in there, I suggest just using an air hammer. Just put it on there and give it a little tap. There we go. Just like that. Get that noisy thing out of the way. All right, so get our nut back off of here. Gonna pull our bolt out. Doesn't look too bad, actually. Again, remember they've been in there for 2 years now. Let's get over here a little closer. We'll show you what we're looking at. Here, there is going to be a washer. Right there. There's also going to be an O-ring in there again to seal it from dust and dirt and grime. There's the O-ring. All right, again, I've never had these out, so here it goes. We're going to see how this works out. There is the bearing. All right, remember, we do not have to remove the cups ever, ever, ever again. There is a snap ring inside of here that is holding the bearing down in there, and I'm going to try to do this one-handed for y'all just to see how this goes. Difficult. Oh, there it is. That's it. All right, snap ring out. That's all that's holding the bearing in there. So now we should just be able to tap it up and it should come on out. Let's see how we can get that out. Hold on, I'm gonna have to switch to 2 hands for that, unfortunately. Sorry, folks. All right, so let's see what we have here. We're gonna use a 3/4 socket. So remember, we're not having to drive on these. We're just gonna push it out. So it's okay to tap on them a little bit here. We're not gonna bang on them. There it is. That is literally all that is in the ball joint delete system right there. Mine have never been out, and you see how it come out. It's just a spherical bearing. The rebuild kit comes with the bearings for the upper and the lower. If you want to get the new bolts, you can get those separately. He does sell new bottom bolts separately. Everything is of individual. It is very, very cheap to rebuild these versus the cost of all new ball joints. You see how simple that was. I'm really not prepared, honestly, for what I was doing. This was purely a one-off situation, and you see it come right out. I have never had these out before. So that's it. Again, it wasn't a how to install them. It was merely about how to rebuild them. We can reverse this and just pretend this was our new bearings, which we are not going to replace these. My God, they're in beautiful shape. There's no reason to. I just wanted to show you guys what was involved in it. So to go back together, we literally would just stick the new bearing down in there. Get it lined up. We'll give it a slight tap. We are not banging on these, okay? Just like that, okay? That's all it takes. And then we would reinstall our snap ring back down in there. And again, let me see if I can do this one-handed. Just like that. All right, the rebuild kit comes with new O-rings as well. However, we are not doing that. We're just going to put our existing components back in there. O-ring goes back on it. The washer goes back on it like that. If you were reusing your existing bolt at this point in time, you would literally stick your bolt back in there like that. All right. Tap it down. I am changing the bolts out though. That's it. That's all there is to rebuilding the American Iron ball joint delete systems. I cannot believe why anybody would own a Jeep and not run these at all. Screw that pressing ball joints in and out. That crap is done and over with in my life. I'm not dealing with them anymore. The bottom is exactly the same as the top, except it is upside down. The snap ring comes in from the bottom under here. All right, so again, you pull the O-ring. There's a washer that goes on the lower bolt. The washer comes out with the bolt. There's an O-ring. You pull the O-ring. There's a snap ring. Pull the snap ring. Voila. Tap the new bearing, or the old bearing out. Tap the new bearing in. Snap ring back in. O-ring, bolt back together. can you get any simpler than that? I don't understand it. But anyway, that is it for rebuilding the American Iron ball joint delete system. Not how to install them. We have already done that. Look back. We will put a link to that in here. We did a previous video on installing them. They have been in here 2 years. Absolutely flawless with them. However, new components going in. We did want to do a few upgrades just to compare it to the old system. I had no problem with the old system, but we'll talk about the comparisons later on and see how they do. So until next time, American Iron ball joint delete system rebuild done. That's it. See you guys later. All right, guys, I did want to give y'all a little bit of bonus footage here. We're going to talk about the lower American Iron ball joint delete system. The previous system, when it came out by American Iron, Josh had set this system up to where we're going to put this back together. So what you will see when you initially take the bolt out, or when you install them, is there is a washer, an O-ring, and then the bearing, okay? This washer starts out flat when you get these new. And when you install them and you start torquing the sequence down, it initially preloads the lower bearing and is going to cause the washer to go concave. Most folks that installed these complained about the fact that it made the steering hard and self-centering issues. A lot of that was called for from improper installation. Sorry, we're not hurting anybody's feelings here, but that's mostly what was caused by it. If you did not follow his directions explicitly, you would crush this washer way too far down in there into the bearing, and it would cause excessive preload on the lower bearing, which made the knuckle hard to turn, okay? That's why this is misshaped now from flat to kind of conical shape. It is supposed to do that because it is taking up the slack in here down inside there to the bearing to preload it, okay? The new design that has come out has done away with this, so we no longer need it, okay? Here is the new components right here. It comes with a new O-ring. It now comes with a metal shim spacer, whatever you want to call it, and a Delrin flat washer. This is a flexible washer and a new lower nut, okay? To install this, again, you simply go into the bottom, you take it apart. You don't have to pull the whole entire knuckle off. You can do it with it installed. However, we were doing a bit of maintenance and we have it all completely down, so it's easier to show you. What we would do to install the upgrade is we simply remove the old O-ring out of the bottom. We would install the new O-ring that comes in the kit, okay? We would then install the metal spacer down in there, okay? When we go back in now with our new system installed, okay? Now I'm not going to put it back together, so it's a little misleading to show you here. However, this spacer takes up the fact of over torquing this lower bolt now, or this washer with the nut, okay? We now have a fixed distance in there. We are not setting the distance with how much torque we put on it, okay? So once we install our new lower Delrin washer and we put it back together and we install our new lower nut, when we torque this down to the proper torque, again, proper torque included in the instructions, we are no longer going to deform this lower washer like this, all right? It is just a prefixed torque number now. All we are doing essentially is taking up the slack in the O-ring and the Delrin washer to get down to the metal spacer. Essentially what is going to happen is all we are going to end up with is the lower stud directly flush with the nylock nut. It takes the guesswork out of over torquing the lower bolt and causing too much preload. That's why he came out with a fixed clearance now. We are no longer setting the clearance with the torque and the washer. It is already preset, okay? That is all that there is in the new addition on the new lower design that he came out with, okay? Right now, I believe, do not quote me on this, I do not know how long he is going to do this, so don't say, oh, I said. However, right now, if you have the existing lower system, which uses the washer like this, he is offering these parts essentially free of charge for both sides. You just pay the shipping. I think I paid like 10 bucks. All right. Went online, filled out the order form for it, add these to the cart. There is essentially no charge for the upgrade components right here. You just pay for the shipping, okay? And you can upgrade your lowers. And that takes a lot of that excessive preload out that people put in there by misinstalling them, all right? If you do this in conjunction with the new design upper stud that is double adjustable, you can now take a lot of additional preload out because you do not have to torque this very tight. I think his baseline torque starts out merely at 30 pounds. That's it. And you can adjust it from there. So if it's too loose, like if you have hydro steer or something like that, you can put additional torque on here, which will preload the lower bearing harder. If you have conventional steering like we still have right now, we will leave this at the initial torque of 30 pounds. We want them kind of loose to help with self-centering issues. That was the whole purpose behind these two systems working together, was issues with self-centering. A lot of it people experienced stiff, a lot of road wander, stuff like this. The wheels were hard to get back to center, and a lot of that was from over torque, improper installation. But Josh, being the guy that he is, he tried to come out with a system that made it more user-friendly to take out more human error. All right. That's all that's involved in the lowers, really. I will get it all back together, and then I will show you the finished product and how it's going to look, and we'll talk about the double-ended upper again after I get it all back together. Again, not a how-to install video, merely talking about the new upgrades that have come from American Iron with their ball joint delete systems. All right, guys, so there it is, all reassembled. Again, it wasn't how-to necessarily, but I did want to show you what it looks like when it's all together. You'll notice that our lower nut is merely just flush with the top of our stud, okay? It's not meant to be tightened down. All we did was took up the slack between the solid steel washer that's in there now and the new Delrin, and then got the nut down where it's essentially flush, so it's in the nylock, okay? The new double adjustable upper, kind of the same way. We don't have a whole lot of preload on it. Let me get the camera turned around here. All right, essentially, again, the same thing. Remember, we pre-installed the stud into the turning knuckle, so we were able to go ahead and pre-torque these to 40 foot-pounds. Same thing on the bottom, 40 foot-pounds on the nylock nut. Okay, we then slipped it back up in there. All right, with the new double adjustable, it gives us the ability to add additional preload to the lower bearing, okay? So essentially, the more we tighten this up, the tighter the knuckle is going to get. Now, I don't have hydro steer, so I don't need a whole lot of resistance. Once you get it back together, it should be firm, okay, but not hard to turn. Now, it's not one-handed by no means. However, it is not like I'm grabbing hold of it and using everything I have to try to turn it. You want resistance in it, not flippy-floppy, okay? There is also a new double updated lower. I do not have that. I don't use it, essentially, but I will show you a little bit of the difference between that. They did come out with a new lower bolt cup design. You would have to press the existing system out and press the new system in. It is designed for the guys that are, let me see if I can get you up in here. You'll notice once it is installed, there is not a whole lot of clearance between the shaft and the lower bolt. It does not interfere. It does not hit. However, if you run RCV axles are a lot larger. And there have been some clearance issues where it wants to rub on the lower bolt. Again, Josh being the guy that he is, he wanted to come out with something that would work. So he came out with a new whole entire lower design that essentially recesses the cup even further down inside. So it puts the nut and the stud further down inside, and it adds an additional, don't get me to quoting these, I think it's 205 thousandths of clearance, and it will clear RCV axles. Again, I don't run them. I don't need the whole new design. But there is out there, if you do have them and you are considering running these, which I cannot believe still why anybody with a Jeep would not run these over conventional ball joints. They suck, and I don't like using the press. Anyways, so that's some information about all the differences, the different designs, the different systems that he has out. You do not have to go to the double adjustable top. You can still use your existing top bolt if you just rebuild these, okay? You can reuse your bolt. There's nothing wrong with it, all right? I think, essentially, if I was to walk out here and go, I'm going to rebuild the ball joints in my Jeep, I am quite confident I could have both sides done within about an hour and 15 minutes tops, probably, versus conventional ball joints of having to press them in and out. Merely fighting with the press is enough for me to be done with that. So to each his own. Whatever design you choose to use, if you are going to stay with a conventional ball joint, don't know why you would, but be sure and use something that is very, very high quality so that you don't have to do that pressing over and over and over again. Remember, every time you press a ball joint out, you essentially are damaging this inner bore right here. That's why they have smooth bore ball joints and knurled ball joints. You can get away with about one ball joint change. After that, this knuckle right here is essentially pretty much oversized. You have to go to knurled ball joints to help hold it. One and done, folks. Get the old ones out, press the new one in. That's it. No more pressing. Again, just a bolt, some C-clips, some washers, some O-rings, pop the bearing out, pop a new bearing in, put it back together, go on about your business. Or you can watch your buddy all day long fight with his press doing his conventional ball joints. So that's some information for you guys. Thanks for watching. If you want to know more information about it, please reach out to American Iron Off-Road on Facebook. Look him up. Message Josh Dodsworth. He is happy to return your messages and try to help you out as much as he absolutely can. The instructions for all of this is found on their website. So if it's something other than what do I torque it to, don't bother the man. But if you have a substantial issue or feedback, he wants to know. He is trying to make this better and better as it goes. And there are a lot of haters out there that are extremely jealous of what he is doing right now. So again, don't read into that BS. Do your own homework. Look into the system. It is fabulous. We have flat-towed this thing probably a good 20,000 miles behind our motorhome. Before it got turned into being on a trailer, and that was only because of tires. I went to stickies. Otherwise, I would still be flat towing this Jeep behind my motorhome every single day with these deletes in there. That is not including how we have beat the crap out of it on the trails. Name it. The Jeep has been through it, and the ball joint deletes are still perfect. All right? Perfect. There was nothing wrong with those bearings when we popped them out. I strictly wanted to do it to show you guys what it looks like. All right, so there you go. If you have any questions, we will try to help you out as much as we can. If I can't find an answer for you, I'll make it up. I'm strictly joking. I will get a hold of the man himself and ask him if I cannot help you. But he is so willing to help you guys. He loves to talk about these systems and how much they are and how much they do for you and what they are and the cost of these versus a good quality ball joint. I'm going to say that loosely because honestly, I don't think there's nothing quality about a ball and socket ball joint anyways. It's cost effective to do this because the cost to rebuild these is a fraction of the cost of a new set of ball joints. There are some companies out there that are coming out with rebuildable ball joints. Why go through all that? I don't know. Anyways, this is not an infomercial. I'm not endorsed by Josh. I'm not paid by Josh. He does nothing except we run his product. I have met the man personally at King of the Hammers. I met him at Smoky Mountain Jeep Invasion. Stand up, 100% good guy. Honest, American-made product. American Iron Off-Road. Look him up.